Hello, everyone. Good morning again, or good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I'm back with Rukmini, The Turning of Time and Dawn of Era with chapter 22nd. Until now, we have finished chapter 21, which is titled as The Disappearance of Kashini. So, until the last chapter, we have realized or listened to how Kashini has been disappeared from the care of Sujata and Menaka. Suddenly one night, she was actually telling Sujata that Anjali came for me and then I am leaving. And then she took all her belongings. And then that was happened because there was a vigorous search that or scrutiny that has been initiated by Kashini's family, and then all her father and brothers. They were in search of. They have intensified their search for their search for Kashini, and then they have been searching vigorously for her. So basically, she has been disappeared, and then she went to Mata for an answer, and then Mata did actually turn to Kashini, and then did attend to Kashini, and what happened after that? What exactly happened after that, and how did Mata convey message to her is what we will listen or we will dive into the chapter of 22nd, which is titled as Return of Rishi. What is the meaning of Return of Rishi? Why is the Rishi returning? Who is Rishi? Rishi is a great sage. So in ancient India, we call the sages as rishis. So they have returned. Where have they returned from, and where have they gone? Is what we have to understand. Now, before actually going into this chapter, I would like to highlight few important things in this chapter, which says or which actually emphasizes on certain points that when you meditate, and we are all meditators, right? And most of us we will actually what is the importance of meditation. We all know what is the importance of meditation and what happens during meditation and what happens after meditation. We all are aware of that, but the important pieces that we miss we miss as a part of meditation is that there are certain sorry, there are certain disadvantages or things that might arise after meditation, that we have to carefully watch on them and then carefully execute with total consciousness and awareness. One such thing we will be looking in this chapter is about uh, downfall of pride. So when you meditate for long hours, or when you meditate and meditate and meditate, there were certain emotions that have been deeply buried in your subconscious memory that will arise or that will surface to your conscious brain, that we all know, right? So for those of you who do not know, there were emotions that were deeply submerged inside our subconscious memory, and we always think that we are perfectly fine and we do not subject to those emotions, right? But it is not that case. When these emotions are deeply submerged inside our subconscious brain, it has to surface, and we have to, any individual or any soul with a physical body have to deal with those emotions, and make sure that we do not downfall or we do not fall for those emotions. One such thing is pride and anger. These are the two main things that we will be observing when you meditate and meditate for longer hours. We will either fall for pride, or we will either fall for anger. Anger is one important thing. Even I have observed that anger surfacing in my brain or in my heart, when I meditated for longer hours, that anger surfaced. But immediately expressing that anger is not a good idea. That we have to be aware that these emotions might surface, and then we have to carefully deal with that. We have to express that in a safest way. So that's how the emotions are, that's how the with emotions should be. It's not like you can stay away from it, or you can completely escape from it. This is a human life. You are uh, in a place where you are surrounded with lots and lots of emotions, and you have to deal with every emotional baggage that you accumulate with. You cannot escape. That's what Mata have been emphasizing at. This is not a time for retreat. This is a time where you can deal with the emotions, and you pass through that emotional baggage, yet stay detached, and yet you deal with them by attaching to it, and yet stay detached. You have to pass through it and meet your goals. That's how you have to deal with it. And when you pass through that emotional baggage, if you cannot actually fall for those emotions, you have to maintain your detached state, and then easily and safely pass through that baggage. That's how uh, sorry, are you there? Okay, it's live. Okay, that's how the dealing of emotions should be, and that's what I have understood from Mata within this chapter. So there's a piece in here that really emphasizes on downfall for the increased pride after meditation, and downfall for the anger. You cannot actually subject or be subject be a subject to those emotions. And you have to subdue those ego and that ego and pride that develops or surfaces out of meditation. And if you cannot contain your anger, of what use is the meditation? So when you can't deal with those emotions, the energy that accumulates out of meditation, you will have so many powers or visions that accumulates out of meditation. That we might be listening to some people saying that I've got visions, I've got these things, and I've got that things. But we really have to understand that, are they emotionally balanced? Are they unbiased? Are they detached yet attached? That's what we have to characterize that person as. We have to look at that person as visions, missions, etc., etc. All these are secondary. They carry importance. They have a weightage. Yes, for sure. But that's the secondary thing. A person who is a good meditator, or who is an experienced meditator, I would strongly believe that they should have balanced emotions, and they should be balanced in every situation, yet stay detached. They should be a leader. They should be an example of a leader who can actually execute these emotions in a well balanced way, by staying detached yet attached to the situation. That's how I classify a senior meditator, or a meditator, or whoever a senior person would be. And for every cause, for every cause there'll be for every action there'll be a cause and effect. You have accumulated that energy through your meditation, and you will be knowing that for every action there will be an effect for this, and you will be able to identify the root cause of it. That is called causation. We will also be looking at how this causation works in this in our lives, and how a meditator, a well balanced meditator, can identify, try to find the root cause of it, by not only brooding or drooling over the effect. Okay, we tend to concentrate on the effect rather than identifying the root cause. So we actually have to think about the causation effect in our life, where we actually concentrate on the cause. So that is one other important thing, and we will be looking at. And the next thing that we'll be looking at is, we should not actually go in pursuit of visions, but rather seeking to temper the anger and pride. So when people meditate, or when okay, let me take myself as an example. When I meditate for longer hours, if I accumulate some powers or visions or anything, then that's not how I should look myself at as. That's not how I should categorize or characterize myself as. Am I well balanced in my emotions? Am I able to execute my emotions in a safest way? And by not attaching to the situations, yet staying the detachment is what I have to observe on myself, and how I have to characterize myself as. That is an important thing on the individual. For example, we one more thing I is we obviously fall for the identity. Once we accumulate the pride, then the next step that we will be looking at is the identity. Okay, I am great, I am very great at this, I have a good knowledge, I can speak well, I can do this, I can do that. So it's my identity. No, spiritual path is not for identity. This is not the place where you have to execute your identity. This is the place where you come for learning, and learn a lot. And if you are able to teach a lot. And when you teach a lot, you should not fall for pride. That's the importance or importance that Mata was emphasizing on. I obviously was listening to some of the things in and around, saying that we have this identity when we will look for identity, and it is required. Yeah, spirituality is not a place for identity. This is a place where you come to learn a lot, to learn lots of things. Of course, teaching matters, but while you teach, you have to learn a lot. If you are learning a lot by teaching, then you're on the right path, then you belong to this path. If you're not learning while teaching as well, then this is not the path for us. So that's and while you learn, and the implementation part is also very, very important. If you're not implementing on yourself, if I am not implementing on myself, then I am not a fit person, fit enough to teach anything. So if I am missing that implementation part on myself, and I am speaking, talking and anything blah 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 on the stages or any stuff, then that's not place for me. So that's what I have realized. And it takes few lifetimes, friends. It takes more lifetimes. How soon we can realize that fall for emotions is what the importance is. For it takes years and years, lives and lifetimes to learn about these emotions. And I wouldn't say that it's a cakewalk. It is definitely not a cakewalk to overcome a single emotion. For example, when Jaya, I think we already have listened to that story in previous chapters. When Jaya was standing in the higher celestial realms. He was standing as a guardian of Lord Vishnu, and he had developed the pride, saying that thinking that everyone who wanted to visit Lord Vishnu, they have to come to me to ask the permission, and if I allow them, if I only accept them, then only they can go and visit him. So such is the pride that he has developed, and that is creating a ripple effect across the universe, because a being who is in highest celestial realm, if they have these negative emotions that has been surfaced on the highest celestial realms, then it will obviously be affected or impacted in the lowest celestial lowest realms too, and also through the entire universe. That is why Sanaka, Sananda, Sanat Kumara, all these four rishis, they have come and made that emotion balanced. And when he fell down from the highest celestial realms, there was a lots and lots of negativity that he accumulated. And then the first thing that he accumulated was the pride. He had got immense powers. He had meditated a lot and lot and lot, and after that meditation he accumulated lots of pride. And out of that pride, what is the consequence? Because after that pride, what happened was, he accumulated lots and lots of negativity during that pride. After that pride, the consequence was that, okay, I am the greatest thing, I know everything, I have the knowledge, I should be worshipped rather than Lord Vishnu. Now he is competing with Lord Vishnu. That is a pride, that is a consequence of the pride. He didn't understand, he fell for that pride. And then after falling to that pride, what did he do? He just crashed everything. He just disrupted the harmony of the earth, and then he just disrupted the harmony of universe, and he started conquering each and every realm. And then he killed the people. The next action was killing the people who is not listening to him. So such is the consequences of pride, one after another, one after another, one after another. So we couldn't assume, if we fall for those emotions, then what happens was, we will unknowingly fall, we will unknowingly commit so many negative things in the life, and the consequences are bizarre, you know. And that is why people say that we shouldn't fall for the negative emotions. Either we should use our meditation energy to safely pass through that emotions, and then be aware yet detached, stay attached. That is the meaning of that. We shouldn't actually end in this karmic cycle, accumulating more and more sin to our lives or souls, so that we will end up in repeating, or which will actually take us away from the liberation, right? So that is the important thing. And yeah. So we will actually go into this chapter, and how these emotions, how these negative emotions have actually impacted the lives, and how did they end up dealing with that, is what this return of Rishi will educate us. So after Kashini disappeared, Sujata immediately went to the palace, and then she was trying to visit Mata, and then Mata was like, "Okay, didn't Kashini say you that she is leaving?" And then Sujata replied saying that yes, she did, but where is she? How is she? She was all worried. So wait a minute, and then Mata was actually telling her, don't worry about Kashini. She is in the best hands. She is in the best hands, the very best as of now. And you have done your part to take care of her, but now she must walk in a different path. So go home and be at ease. is what Mata did say, Sujata. And then Sujata was still confused. She was with lots and lots of questions. And whenever I look at Sujata, I was actually like, okay, this thinking is mine, this thinking is mine, this thinking is mine. We all can relate. We are all from the same consciousness, right? We'll have lots and lots of questions in our brains. So since Mata is answering all these questions, it is like, okay, she's answering my question. She is answering my question. So it feels to me like that. We are all with full of questions until we will be in that awareness state. If we are in the awareness state or conscious state, then we will have answers that is coming from inside us. Everything is coming from inside us, friends. There's nothing, no answers that are there outside the universe. And I totally realize that there is no answers that is outside there in universe which can satisfy your quest. Everything will come from your inside. But do the sadhana, increase your sadhana, or increase the time of meditation to get your questions answered. Then every question will be answered in the form of realizations, or intuitions, what intuition, not intuitions, but realizations. So every questions will be answered. So before leaving living from Sujata, Mata said that, go find Revati, she said, and then, okay, I will find, and before going home, go meet Anjali, is what she said. And then immediately she went in search of Anjali, and then Anjali was like waiting for her, because Anjali obviously knows that Sujata, with full of questions, she will obviously come here, and then I'll have to answer her questions, is what she was waiting for. And then she said that, uh, as soon as she saw Anjali, she was exclaiming, saying that, where is Kashini? When will she return? And who is she with? Is she really safe? A sense of urgency crept in back of her voice. And then Anjali was like, cool, cool, calm down, calm down. Did she say that? Didn't she say that she is going with me? And said, yes, yes, where is she? Where is she? And now, so many questions, Sujata. Questions, always questions, right? You have lots and lots of questions. That's who we are too. We have lots and lots of questions too. So Anjali started explaining what is where is she and how is she. Now she is taking her back to the old story where this all originated from. And listen to this story very carefully, friends, because it has to go back in time to the story of Prema and Sundari. So Prema and Sundari, we have already listened to this story called Prema and Sundari in the chapters, in the previous chapters. But this started accumulating more and more karma. And even Sujata was fed up, was surprised to this story, because again you are taking me back to that Prema and Sundari. And definitely Sundari is Sujata and Prema is Amba, right? And now that Amba was dead, and Sundari is left out with Sujata, and then Menaka was their mother, right? So they all are reunited. Now then she was exciting, she was surprised, saying that again those two again, how long will it take? Does their story never end, is what Sujata was asking. Yes, it doesn't end, because we do not know how much karma that we will accumulate during one lifetime. And every karma has to be balanced, not immediately. Even if it doesn't balance immediately, it has to take its turn in future lifetimes too, to balance it. So that is the causation effect, cause and effect. If there's a cause, then there will be an effect to it. If there's an effect, there will definitely be a cause to it. That is the way we have to relate both of them and look at it. It never ends. It goes on, goes on and on. So Anjali was narrating about Kashini's part in the story. So, and in the previous story, we already listened to it that Sage Gayatri had entered the Naga world to find Prema, and that Prema had asked her to bring her eldest daughter to her mother so that she could be trained to lead the clan. Prema realized that with both her and Sundari gone, there would be nobody to guide the clan after her mother grew old. But she knew that when her daughter entered the human realm, they would not meet again in that life. It was a sacrifice she made for the sake of both her mother and her daughter. She knew her daughter would not be safe in the Naga world after the killing of her husband's brother. Now, her husband's brother was killed, and then Prema was thinking that with both of her daughters gone, it would be tough for her mother to actually take care of the clan, who is the head of the clan. Because Prema was gone with by marrying another Naga prince, and then Sundari, since Sundari was not being supported by her mother and being separated from, she was also being separated, and both of them were separated, and she was left alone. So Prema decided to send her daughter to her mother, so that when she exits out of that Naga world to the human realm, she would totally lose contact. But that was the sacrifice that she made for her mother. So before she had entered, so before Prema actually entered the Naga world, she has become very skilled in weaponry in order to protect the clan in the forest, and this served her well among the Naga people. So her daughter had the same capabilities that she inherited from her mother and grandmother. And then when she came to live with the grandmother, she expressed a strong interest in honing her skills in defense. She began training as a warrior, also learning skills in governance. So she obviously inherited all these qualities from her mother and her grandmother, and the vigorous training has been given by her mother too in addition to that. And then she is already well equipped, and then now she was being sent to her mother with Sage Gayatri. And we will obviously um, so this was at a time when communities were informally divided into sectors to serve different functions in society, but this was being done in a very fluid manner based on choice and ability, not family inheritance as we have today. So family inheritance was not definitely have doesn't definitely have a weightage on. It definitely have an importance on the skills that they develop, even if they belong to the inherited family or the supreme family. They'll have to develop those skills, and if they do not develop those skills, then they are unfit to lead that clan. It's more of like, you know, this story, the Prema and Sundari story, it looks like a mini Mahabharata or mini Kuru family. But this Kauravas and Pandavas, they both fought with each other, and this Naga world, it's not very different, but it's kind of similar. It is similar, obviously. So then a thought suddenly struck in Sujata's mind, saying that was this daughter Kashini, who is born to Prema and who is separated from her mother, and then who was being transferred to her grandmother. She was actually thinking of the close relationship that was developed between Menaka and Kashini in the present lifetime. So Menaka was obviously her mother in the previous lifetime. So if she was her previous lifetime, and if she was her mother, then this grand then this daughter Kashini, Amba's daughter, would definitely have been the Prema's daughter too in the previous lifetime. See how the circle, how the karmic patterns have been repeated. And she was separated earlier in her lifetime from her mother Prema, and then at this lifetime she was again reunited with her mother to completely absorb that motherly love, yet staying attached to the grandmother too. And we all can realize how this karmic pattern have been worked out together to bring all of the family together again and then experience that close relationship with each other. So, and then Anjali was saying that yes, indeed, she was Kashini became so good at the use of weapons that she was reborn several times among the Kshatriya, and eventually in a male body, as it became less common for women to excel in the use of weapons. So every time she was born as a male, and then she developed more and more skills in the use of weapons. And then what happened what happened was that then one time she took as a birth of the Raja of a small kingdom not far from Videha, the kingdom of Janaka Maharaja. So there's one lifetime of Kashini which she took as a male, which she reincarnated as a male, and then at that point of time she was the king of she Yes, Kashini was the king of, in a male body, she was the king of a small part of the kingdom in Videha, which was actually ruled by Janaka Maharaja. And he was a great sage too, right? And this was a turning point for that particular person, Kashini. So this Raja at that point of time, who was Kashini, who was very much interested in becoming the finest Kshatriya, met Janaka Maharaj and was very much impressed by his wisdom. Who will not be impressed by Janaka Maharaja's wisdom? Even Rama and Sita, and that's why Sita was born, came to him. Is not. I mean, he was not. She was not born. She was brought to him because of amazing wisdom that he has shared to this world. And even Rama, Sri Rama, was very much impressed by Janaka Maharaja's wisdom. And then he took very important pieces from that point of time, and then he executed the same wisdom and shared that same wisdom in Ayodhya too. So such was the learnings by the son-in-law from his father-in-law. If the great Sri Ram would have been impressed by Janaka Maharaj, why will not this Raja will not get influenced or impressed by Janaka Maharaj? Definitely he will get impressed. He made many trips to his palace and came to know the young Sita. The one day, Janaka Maharaj, then what happened was, this is very important piece. Then one day, Janaka Maharaj invited him to attend a dialogue at a palace between sage Yajnavalkya and his wife sage Maitreyi. So Sage Maitreyi was Sage one important or prominent character who actually was the reason behind shaping of Kashini's future, which you will obviously understand in by the end of this chapter. So Sage Yajnavalkya's wife is Sage Maitreyi. There's a dialogue on divine love. So the dialogue in the sense they were discussing or sharing wisdom on the divine love. And this sharing wisdom on love is not very easy. So the Raja was so elevated by the dialogue that afterwards he went to the hermitage and requested Sage Maitreyi to take him as a student. So this we already have listened this for this story we already have listened in the previous chapter, saying that Sage Maitreyi has rejected the male students in his hermitage, and then she was only accepting a new she was only accepting the new or the female students. Now, this story was already being narrated in the previous chapter. So Anjali was also a disciple of Sage Maitreyi, and this Raja was actually wanted to be a disciple to Sage Maitreyi too, where he was rejected, and then after that there was a consequences for that, and then his father because of his detachment to the kingdom, and which he didn't care for, he was actually the kingdom was being overpoured by the enemies, and then his daughter had been violated and his wife has been killed. So many things have been happened. So we will look into the effect of those things that happened previously in this chapter. So he was this Raja who was also Kashni at that point of time. He actually pursued Sage Maitreyi so ardently that he be accepted as a disciple. So then what happened was he came, and this Anjali, we already learned this about Anjali, about when we were actually deep diving into the Anjali's previous lifetimes. Anjali was the one who cursed that Raja, and then that curse has an effect, saying that he would be, because he was the cause of the daughter's violation, and daughter has witnessed the killing of mother in front of his eyes because of his detachment to the kingdom, and he didn't care for them. So he was actually responsible for the person, and then this Anjali, this very own Anjali, she relieved the curse. She actually released that curse, saying that this Raja would be the reason to witness the killing of his own mother, and he would be the cause of his death, is what she released the curse on. And now we can realize that Raja is none other than Kashini. And now we can relate that how that curse came into an effect, saying that he witnessed the death of Amba in front of her eyes, and she was the reason why her mother and father fought with each other, and then why her father was killing her in front of her own eyes. So that is the effect, and this is the cause. So there definitely will be a cause for the effect, is what she was trying to say. And now let us come back into the story. And so why did Anjali actually release that curse? Why is the reason? What is the reason why she released that curse? And Sage Maitreyi, she already told Raja to not follow her. And this is not the time to retreat. This is the time that you have a responsibility and you go execute your responsibility. There were situations, there were people who were educating us constantly and consistently to execute our dharma, even in the olden ages. That is not like every people who just was fascinated about the knowledge, then they can't just go and retreat. They just can't go and continuously meditate. We have a responsibility in this lifetimes to execute our responsibilities, and when the time really comes for the retreat, then there will be a real calling. Then that's when you have to retreat. It's not like you cannot retreat from your own I mean, abandoning your responsibilities. You might have interests. Okay, do the execute those interests, satisfy your quest, and quench by you can quench your quest by executing those interests, by attending towards those interests at your free times, and that will actually quench your thirst, you know. But you really can't retreat yourself away from this world. That's what Sage Maitreyi was telling. And Okay, that happened. And why did Anjali release the curse? Okay, so she was actually attached to the situation. She didn't maintain that detachment. She was actually, she came to that. How did she release that curse? She was a disciple, right? And I was already explaining you about the emotions that might surface after meditation. So she had attained profound spiritual visions, and thus her words held a great weight. So she just emerged from deep meditation, um, and then she learned about this incidents that has taken place, and then she was attached to the situation. She fell for those negative emotions that surfaced as a result of meditation. Meditation is not a cakewalk, friends. People think that we are just closing eyes, we are just thinking, no thought state, we are accumulating the energy, we have got this things, that thing, visions, missions. No, meditation definitely has some side effects. The thing is, the um, the side effects would be the negative emotions will surface, and definitely we have to deal with those emotions. Increase your meditation, which will give you the clarity on how to deal with those side effects. So Anjali definitely fell for those negative emotions, and which just surfaced as a result of those meditation, deep meditation for longer hours. And then this increase, she did definitely, she did a great job of doing this meditation. And then she unfortunately has increased that pride, which is a side effect of meditation, which surfaces, but that has to go out, right? And if it has to go out, then that is not the way. There's definitely things. And in the present days, in the modern days, you can exercise a lot to release those emotions. That's why people say that meditation, exercise, and food, these three things have to stay balanced in your life. It is not that you can have a less importance for one thing. The side effects that arises out of meditation, that has to go out in a safest way. Then exercise, to the favorite sport activity that you have, which will help you in releasing those emotions. And then when you how does that energy come? With a well balanced diet that you intake into your body, and then you meditate again. So that's how the things or the life cycle has to be. That's how your body stays well balanced, and your clarity of thought and your thinking power will increase. And this thinking towards your situations in your life, you will have a clarity in dealing the situations in your life. So that is the importance of these three things: diet, meditation, and also uh, exercise. So at that point of time, Anjali fell for the pride. So which is a downfall for so many people. Pride is very, 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 if you do not control that pride that arises after meditation, then you will definitely see lots and lots of effects and side effects and consequences, and which will help you, which will not help you, but which will make you fall into an endless karmic cycles. So that's very important thing. So Anjali didn't realize that it was a test, not just for Raja, but also for her. And she failed it. She released that curse, saying that he has to witness that. And she lost her self control and cursed out of anger. So she was so much attached to the situation. Doesn't Sage Maitreyi knows that? And it was at Sita Mata's time, as we already learned. Sita Mata doesn't know that. Sri Rama doesn't know that. The sages, there were lots and lots of sages around. They don't know that. Why are they sitting silent? And as soon as she meditated and she came out of that meditation, she released that curse. Is she the only person who is attached to that situation? No, right? And after this things after the reading this, even I have developed a question in my mind saying that how can one tolerate injustice? Okay, they are all there, but we the humans, we will obviously be attached to the situation, right? If a daughter is being violated because of incapability of her father. Her father is the one who is supposed to protect them, and he got away from that. And that the reason why she was being violated is because of her father, and she has to witness the killing of her mother in front of her eyes, who tried to save her life. And this is all injustice. This has developed something in my brain too. And how can one move away from that injustice thing? How can one even though they are meditators, even though there are side effects, how can one not I mean, how does meditation helps in tolerating or understanding this injustice? So that's what I have, the question that I have developed. And later when I meditated through it, then I realized, or when I am reading through this book, then I realized saying that, thinking that, or realized, or the realization that came to my brain was that as you meditate meditate, as you increase the intensity of your meditation, the energy that you accumulate during your meditation will obviously help you, or the exercise and then the meditation, whatever it is, that will help you in figuring out the cause rather than getting attached to the effect. When you attach to only the effect, that's when you increase the pride, or when you release the curse, or whatever increase the anger or emotions, negative emotions. But when that as you meditate and meditate, it will give, this energy will help you in thinking or finding the root cause for it, and then you will act accordingly. Your state will be in a detachment stage while you identify the root cause of it. So it's very important that you do not skip meditation to have a healthy balance of emotions. That's my take on this. And if Anjali, she thinks that she was in awareness state of have not falling for that pride or anger, that she has those powers and all those things, then she would have tried to identify the root cause for it. And she would also she would also think that, okay, this is how this was. Okay, what can we do? What can we do to help these people? What can we do to help understand these people? What can we do to help understand this Raja? How is his life going to be? Obviously, she's a meditator. She can think of the future too. How is this going to be? And at that point of time, Sita Mata and Sage Maitreyi, who are in and around them, they were also educating people, saying that no curses, no curses, no, you do not interfere with the harmony of the people. You do not interfere with the harmony of the universe. No curses. If you are cursing, it's not only the people that who get cursed will affect you, it's you who will get affected too. So so you are spoiling yourself too, and you're disrupting the harmony of the karma that is staying balanced in this in this universe. So that is what she was educating, and she didn't listen for it. And instead of helping them, she released the curse. And she would should have tried to educate the Raja and send back to them. And at least he should have taken care of the daughter and the kingdom at that point of time too. But she she didn't do that. She released the curse. And upon receiving the curse, Raja was very much Raja was suffering very much. And then he left his kingdom. And then he didn't go back to his daughter. And then daughter was suffering, right? He didn't go back to his kingdom. And eventually this Raja, this kingdom was being taken over by his brother, and then her daughter has been taken care by his younger brother, and then he left his kingdom and he retreated to the forest by receiving the curse. So there was lots and lots of things that was disrupted because of the interference of Anjali. And then Sage Maitreyi, she emerged, she appeared in front of both of them, and then she said that because she told Raja, saying that because you didn't heed to my counsel, you will have to now suffer the consequences. I already told you to go back to the kingdom. I foresaw your future, and I was actually trying to help you to get out of this. This is not the time for you to retrieve. The time would have come. I already want you to go back to your kingdom and take care of your responsibility now. You can obviously gain your subdue your ego and pride, as well as in a palace as in a mountain cave. People think that if we retreat to the forest, then only we will get mm, all these immense capabilities of meditation, but that's not the case. We By dealing with the present scenarios, and if you're escaping from the world and renunciating, what good is that? What good happens to us? It's not that we are escaping from the reality and then living in a non-realistic situation and thinking that okay, we are meditators, have overcome this, I've overcome that. So that's what Raja is trying to do that. And whereas Sage Maitreyi is telling that no, you can do it this at your home too. Go execute your responsibilities. Your kingdom needs you, your family needs you, your protection, and everyone needs your protection. You can deal with everything in the realistic life, and then you can achieve this in your present state too. That's what I've tried to warn you, but still you didn't realize, and then you were always trying to renunciate. And my job is not to educate you in every point of life. My job is to warn you, and you are the person who has to take those warnings seriously and understand why you were being told to go back to the kingdom. You have to execute your responsibilities first. So you were not watchful, and then after saying this, she turned to Anjali, and then said that your fault is greater because of the realizations you have gained. So she Raja doesn't know the fact, and then he fell for it, and he did all sorts of these things. But you are the person who meditated a lot, and your realizations are very very high, and yet you fell for the these things, pride. You were not watchful of your pride. Of what use is all your knowledge if you cannot contain your anger? So this is the statement that is made by Sage Maitreyi. If you have meditated long, you have accumulated so much of powers, you have accumulated so much of visions, you have so much of knowledge, but you're not watching yourself for your fall for pride. Okay, for your ego, for your identity. Then what uses of your knowledge? Why did you accumulate this knowledge? Your sin is greater than Raja's sin. Did you not realize that the one who curses and the one who is cursed both suffer? Now the deed is done. I leave it to you to decide when and how it will come to pass, but I will not see either one of you until this matter has been resolved. With those words, she left, and she was actually fed up. The disciple, Anjali, uh, was an immediate disciple. She was continuously being trained by Sahaj Maitreyi. She has accumulated lots and lots of knowledge. Yet she was like, no, she didn't pass the test. And whereas Raja was like, he was continuously wanting the acquaintance with Sage Maitreyi. So that's why she was fed up with both of them, and then she left both of them and said that okay, this will have to be balanced, and that's when I will see both of you, which means they'll have to work on their emotions. Not even if it's not possible in this lifetime, even the next lifetimes too, when this karmic cycle has been completed, then only I'll visit you both. Then until then I'm leaving, is what she said, and then she disappeared. only then that Anjali realized that she loved the Raja as much as she did love other students. So until then, she thought that Sage Maitreyi loves only me, and since I am the disciple, I am the favorite person. No, a guru is the one who will have a balanced love for everyone in this universe, not only the immediate disciples. So if he has a biased love for his own members, then that's not called a guru. So she has tried to get him to return home to prevent the tragedy that she foresaw. And Anjali also realized that the law of causation, the return would have come to him without her curse too. So, yeah, I already told you about the causation, right? The cause and the effect. So there'll be obviously a effect because of a cause, and because of her intervention, which was not needed, this karmic return did not need to be exact the same exact repeat of what had happened to the family, but because of her intervention she has to undergo that same tragedy of witnessing her own mother's death. And that's how Kashini witnessed Amba's death too, and that's how she became the cause of his mother's death. And Anjali, upon hearing all these stories, Sujata was utterly shocked that Anjali was the reason for the Kashini's witnessing Amba's death too, and how this karmic cycle has been repeated, and how all these people are together reincarnated to resolve their karmic cycle. And yet, we have to look at it saying that it's hard. There are also good things that are done in this lifetime apart from the bad things too that happened. But bad things are more of like a payback to those karmas that have been accumulated in the future. So all this have taken place at the time of Sita Mata, right? And all this has taken place. Yeah, all this has taken place at the time of Sita Mata, and we will obviously look at chapter again later. So I will end this chapter right now, and I'll be continuing the further chapter later. Um, and we will look about the further consequences in the later chapters. Thank you. Sirisha, you can end the call.